Shalom. And so giving all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham HaKadosh. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father in ancient Hebrew. Yahweh Shai is the true name of the Son, God and Son. Double honor to the old and the apostle, great millstone, river well. And Shalom to elect of the nation of Israel, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Bible, or the so-called Negroes, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans, as well as your Israelite foreigners that may look like the other nations, but believe this truth. This Brother Cole here with a video lesson on 70 AD, the Roman persecution of the Israelites, because under the ancient Roman Empire, that was one of the captivities of the children of Israel, specifically the southern kingdom, the so-called Negro tribes, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Judah, the so-called American Negroes, Benjamin, and the so-called West Indian Negroes, including Jamaica, and Levi, the so-called Haitian Negroes. That's the southern kingdom. Were under the Roman Empire when the Lord Yahweh was on the scene, who died around 33 AD. Then when you skip forward to 70 AD, the Romans, the Edomites, they came in, and brought persecution to us, and many of our people fled, and these are prophecies written in the Bible. So we're going to cover this event and show you what happened, and hopefully it's edifying. Now we'll start in the book of Luke. Luke chapter 21 and verse 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem in the Hebrew, compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. And so that's dealing with the Roman armies, which we're going to read about, the flood, which represent these Roman armies when they came up against Israel. We'll read it again, Luke chapter 21 verse 20, and when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. And then since then we have not been in our land as a whole nation. We've been scattered completely from our land. And we're going to read this here verse. You had Jakes up there, but as a whole nation we weren't in our land. And it would be a way we go back in style when the Lord Yahweh delivers his elect, pursuant to Jeremiah 16, in 14 and 15, or verse 15 specifically in Matthew chapter 24, verses 29 to 31, proving the small hands from the people. Or read verse 21, Luke chapter 21, verse 21. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains. And so Israel fled from under the Roman persecution from 70 AD into Africa. That was the place that we fled to, the main place. That's what it means. It said, then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter therein too. And so, and there's even a book called Babylon to Timbuktu that shows you that Africa is a place of fleeing for the Israelites. And that is where the Israelites fled from the Roman persecution of 70 AD. Now we'll go back to this, but first, let's go to the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter. This is Revelation chapter 12 and verse 6. And the woman represents Israel. We're going to have to get a precept to prove that. In this particular verse in Revelation 12th chapter, the woman is dealing with Israel. The Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. This is Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 2. I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. So now you have the understanding on how the woman on Revelation 12 chapter represents Israel. We'll read this again, Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 2. I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. So now you have a better understanding. This is Revelation chapter 12, verse 6. And the woman, Israel, fled. We just read Jeremiah 6 and 2. I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. And the woman Israel fled into the wilderness. The wilderness is Africa. We fled there. It makes sense geographically. The Israelites fled into Africa from the Roman army, the persecution of the Roman armies under the order of Vespasian, under the Flavian dynasty. We fled into Africa. And so, and even when the Lord Yahushua was being persecuted under Herod, they sought his life. Our Lord Yahushua, when he was being born, the Lord Yahushua was taken to where? To Egypt, which was in Africa. So it's a place of fleeing for the Israelites. And then we were taken from Africa in slave ships to the modern day Egypt, which is America. We're taken in slave ships to America, Babylon the Great, the spiritual Sodom of Egypt of Revelation 11 chapter. So in the main place of our captivity, the land of drawing waters, in Judges 5 and 11. This is a place where the elect will be delivered. But this gives you a full history of specifically the southern kingdom. Shows you that we're the true people. Because the small hats don't fit any of this. It doesn't make sense. They don't fit in the prophecies. They don't fit in the picture. But this is Revelation chapter 12, verse 6. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had so Israel fleeing into Africa from 70 AD, the so-called Negro tribes, the so-called black tribes, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, where she had a place prepared of Yahweh Bashim. That place is America. So we fled into the wilderness, then we were taken to that place. Prepared of Yahweh Bashim, that they should feed her there 1,203 score days, which represents 350 years of captivity of the Israelites from when we were taken. One of the main dates we were taken as slave ships over here in 1619 to 1969, where this truth started being pushed again. That's the same time period as 3 days and a half, 40 and 2 months. And I think it's time and the dividing of times. It's either dividing of times or I think there's one in Daniel 7 that says something like that, if I quoted it exactly correctly. Now, so we were fled into the wilderness, that's the 70 AD, and taken to the place. This is Hosea chapter 1, verse 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in that place, Revelation 12 and 6, the woman fled into the wilderness and taken to the place where it was said unto them, You are not my people. There it shall be said unto them, You are the sons of the living power. So this place is America. This is the place of the great awakening of the Israelites. So we fled into Africa, the wilderness from 70 AD from the Roman armies. And then we were taken to this place in slave ships to this land, America, or captivity, where the southern kingdom met up with the northern kingdom. The northern kingdom, the so-called Hispanic and Native American tribes, were already over here. We met in captivity, and we've been under oppression, which is why it says in Jeremiah 15:33, where Judah and Israel would be oppressed together, would be in this captivity in the Western Hemisphere, which were in the times of the awakening in the gathering of all the 12 tribes, both kingdoms right now. This is Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 68. This is how we were taken to the place. And the Lord Yahweh Bashim shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. This Egypt, Revelation 11:8, is spiritual Egypt, which is America. We were taken here as slave ships. There is no other Egypt that had anything to do with slave ships. And so this is where we're taking the place. We got here in slave ships. So we fled from Rome, from under the Roman Empire. We fled when they compassed Jerusalem, Jerusalem armies. We fled into the mountains, fled into the wilderness, Africa, and then from there, Esau, when he came up out of the bottomless pit, Europe, pursuant to Revelation the 20th chapter, went out to the sea of the nations, and he took the Israelites in slavery, enslaved us from Africa, and took us to this place, the modern day Egypt, in slave ships. And so, that gives you the full picture, showing you that at least the southern kingdom, the so-called Negro tribes of Israel. So we fit the picture of being the Jews, the Judah, Benjamin, Levi, the southern kingdom, those that were with the Lord Yahushua, the Jews at the time of the Lord Yahushua under the Roman Empire, and under the other Babylonian captivity, the Medo-Persian captivity, the Jews that were given the laws of Yahweh Shai, and again the northern kingdom from the Assyrian captivity. Israelites came to the Americas from the Assyrian captivity. But not to go into all the history, but this is Deuteronomy chapter 26, verse 68 again. And the Lord Yahweh Shai shall bring thee into Egypt, America, again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So we were taken in slavery, taken to this place in ships, and sold into slavery. Now, we can go back to Revelation. This is Revelation chapter 12, verse 6. And the woman fled into the wilderness. So Israel fleeing into Africa from 70 AD from that Roman armies, the persecution of the Roman armies under the order of Vespasian, under the Flavian dynasty, where she had a place prepared of Yahweh Shai. So from the fleeing into the wilderness, we were taken to this place in slave ships, Deuteronomy 28:68 that we just read. They should feed her there 1,260 days, which again, that's 350 years. The same as 3 days and a half, the same as 42 months. Where from the time we were taken here in slave ships, the main date 1619 to 1969, when the truth started being pushed. Starting with Abba Bivens, who was Elijah coming back in the reincarnation. Before the great and dreadful day, the Lord Yahweh Shai comes, pursuing to Malachi the 4th chapter. That's a prophecy that was fulfilled through Abba Bivens, who was Elijah in the reincarnation, Elijah the prophet. That was the kickoff of the Hebrew Israelite ministry, the ministry of the Lord Yahweh Shai, which will be continued in the uttermost part of the earth. Pursuant to Acts chapter 1, verse 6, and Elijah coming back to restore all things, it says in Matthew the 17th chapter, would be in this valley of the dry bones, America, in Ezekiel the 37th chapter. So America will be the main next place of this ministry being continued, and it would reach the four corners of the earth through the internet, pursuant to Matthew 24:14, and gospel being preached throughout the whole earth. And then shall the end come, roughly paraphrased. So now we're going to go to this is Daniel the 9th chapter. Daniel chapter 9 verse 26. And after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. So the Lord Yahushua was on the scene. He died around 33 AD. The Lord Yahushua was a so-called black man of the tribe of Judah, who his true name is Yahushua in the Hebrew. He delivered, and he died for the children of Israel. You read about that in Acts the fifth chapter, Acts chapter 5, around verse 30 and 31. The Lord Yahushua died to give repentance to Israel. And so read this again, Daniel chapter 9 verse 26. And after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. So the Lord Yahushua died for the Israelites. And the people of the prince, which that's the Romans, which were Edomites, the descendants of Esau, the so-called white man, really the red man. They rule Rome, and you look at it with some common sense. Who ruled Rome? The so-called white people. Rome historically was ruled by Edomites. You can literally find books on that. With the proof true prophets are saying that. Starting with the elders, the Apostle Great Millstone on down. But if so, the Romans were Edomites and the Romans were the so-called white people. They're the same so-called white people that are ruling today over America and Europe in the revised Roman system. If ancient Rome was Edomites, then who are the same white people today? They're Edomites. Proving that Esau is not done away with. Or else Rome didn't happen then, I guess. That's the hypocrisy and stupidity of these arguments. But reading on, it says, and the people of the prince that shall come, the Romans, the people of the prince that shall come and destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined. So the flood dealing with the Roman armies. Again, the whole picture is 70 AD or 66 AD to roughly 66 AD to 74 AD. The Roman persecution of the Israelites under the order of Vespasian under the Flavian dynasty. And again, Israel from this Jerusalem compassed with armies that said flood, then fled into the mountains, fled into the wilderness. Then were taken to our place America and the modern day Egypt and slave ships. And another time when the modern day Roman armies is considered a flood is actually a prophecy of the times that we're living in now with Jacob's trouble. Which the same similar event will happen where the Roman armies will persecute the children of Israel. And so this is what we're about to see again, but we're dealing with the revised Roman armies. This is Isaiah chapter 59 verse 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood. So that Esau, his armies, the enemy shall come in like a flood, comes in with them troops against the men of the Lord Yahweh Shah. The spirit of the Lord Yahweh Shah shall lift up a standard against him, which has divine intervention. So you look at it, the Lord Yahweh Shah protected his people back in 70 AD when they came up against us, when it was a serious time. Now this time is a time of trouble like never seen before, pursuant to Daniel chapter 12 verse 1, Matthew 24 and 21, Jeremiah 30 and 7. Last for that day is grace, so that none is like it. It's even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And so when the enemy comes in like a flood, there's going to be a standard lifted. So in this time when Esau comes in with them troops, and you see how much he's perfected his sword with this technology and things, it's going to require divine intervention. Isaiah 33:6 says, wisdom and knowledge shall be distributed at times. So we trust in the Lord Yahweh Shah. We're not stocking up on weaponry to try to fight against Esau when we know he's going to come down with martial law, come down with great wrath, it says in Revelation 12 and 12. We don't need that. We trust in the Lord Yahweh Shah. No weapons is going to save you. That's not what we're about. We're about faith in the Lord Yahweh Shah. Our power is going to deliver us and take our enemies down. We're waiting for that divine intervention. But this is another time in the scriptures where the armies is likened to a flood, which this Isaiah 59:19 is about to happen. It could happen this year very well. So we're spiritually preparing our minds for that, armed with this word. Back to Daniel chapter 9. And this happened in the ancient Roman Empire, and we're in the revised Roman Empire. So a similar persecution is going to happen, but this time is a time of trouble like never seen before. We're about to enter into. Again, Daniel 12 and 1 goes into that. But this is Daniel chapter 9 and verse 26 again. And after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, them armies, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined. So these armies came Roman armies and persecuted the Israelites 70 AD, and we fled into Africa. So it gives you the picture. So now we can go back to Luke chapter 21, and we'll read from verse 20 again. Luke chapter 21, verse 20. And when you shall see Jerusalem, Jerusalem compassed with armies that flood, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, fled to the wilderness, Africa. And let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereunto. So all the prophecies fit together. We're going to skip to verse 24. Luke chapter 21, verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword. That's the 70 AD we've been talking about and reading about. And shall be led away captive into all nations. So even Deuteronomy 28 even tells you in verse 64 that Israel will be scattered through the four corners of the earth. So Israel will be scattered through all the nations of the earth. And so we are all over the earth looking like these other nations, because you're Israelite by the seed of your fathers. So you can lay with heathen women, be scattered into the heathen's lands, and lay with their woman. But if your seed of your father is an Israelite, even if you don't look like an Israelite, but through the line of your fathers going up, or going back in time, you were Israelite. That means that you are Israelite, and this word will be preached and reach the elect Israelites, even if they're scattered throughout the four corners of the earth and look like the other nations. We'll read it again. Luke chapter 21, verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. In Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, talking about our land. Talking about the Gentiles, the heathen, would be in our land until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled, which the time of the Gentiles will be fulfilled when the Lord Yahushua comes back and takes these Gentiles down. And it's good to say on the Lord Yahushua's head with many crowns to come back and take down these heathen and their current rulers. And Yahushua is going to take his place on the throne and rule the nations with a rod of iron, it says in Revelation chapter 12, verse 5. But then it said, Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So who are those people on our land? Those are Gentiles, calling themselves the people, the fake J's, the small hats. Those are Gentiles that the prophecies say they will be in our land until the time of the Gentiles will be fulfilled when the Lord Yahushua comes back. Showing you that that those people on our land are heathen. They did not flee into the mountains. They were not that woman that fled into the wilderness. They were not taken to that place. They were not brought there in slave ships. This is in Deuteronomy 28:68. They do not fit the curse of Deuteronomy 28 chapter either. And they were not remembering themselves in the land of their captivities, pursuant to Baruch chapter 2. They were not waking up pursuant to Ezekiel 37, the valley of the dry bones. There is no gathering of the northern and southern kingdom under oppression, pursuant to Jeremiah 15:33. This only fits the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. The northern kingdom they cannot identify a northern kingdom that went to a land where never mankind dwelt, that met up with the southern kingdom who fled from Rome from 70 AD into the wilderness of Africa and were taken to a modern day Egypt and slave ships. They're not the Israelites. They don't understand these prophecies even. And the way that they got back was not even close to prophecy. Jeremiah 16 says there will be a greater deliverance than ancient Egypt, and then we will be brought back to our own land. The Baruch 2 says we would remember ourselves in the land of our captivities, then be taken back to our own land. Isaiah 14 says when we get back to our own land, we're going to take them captives who captives we were, starting with the elect. And so that the fake J's are not taking nobody in captivity. So they're not the people. Where's King David? Where's the Messiah, the Lord Yahushua ruling? Where was the second return of the Lord Yahushua to deliver the Israelites? It doesn't make any sense. Micah the 4th chapter and Isaiah the 2nd chapter said there will be no more war once the Israelites are on top and back in their land. So they cannot make it make sense. We're literally in the time of World War III, when the scriptures say when the Israelites are back in their land and ruling, there will be no more war. And you can't say that the war is happening now, because the Messiah would be the one who would come back in World War III, take down these military presences in the war in heaven with the Archangel Michael, take down these military that tries to fight against him, and then take his place on the throne, and would set up King David, the prophecies say. Ezekiel 37, Revelation 12 and 5, Revelation 19, Psalms 2, Matthew 24 and 31, 30 and 29 and 31. And so when the Lord Yahushua comes back, it's going to be in the midst of World War III, and there's not going to be, that's just going to bring the Israelites back to their land from when we were scattered all the way from 70 AD, where we wouldn't be in our land. And so the small heads don't fit nothing. They wouldn't be back in the land and say Ezekiel 38, and say that they're about to rise up and start. You can't mess with the prophecies. The Israelites would not be back in their own land until the fulfillment of World War III. Because we're not going to be back because the Lord Yahushua is going to bring us back to our land. The Messiah, Yahushua is the true name, a so-called black man. The Messiah is not going to bring the Israelites back to their own land, and then they're going to try to make war with the Messiah. It doesn't fit like that. You can't make war with the Messiah. We're not going to get back to our own land with the Davidic kingdom that's where we're going to be walking on gold and under the new covenant, and suddenly someone tried to fight against us, and then that's Ezekiel 38. That's World War III. That doesn't make any sense. So the small hats don't fit the bill. They just don't. This is Isaiah chapter 1 verse 7. Your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. That's 70 AD. Your land strangers devour in your presence, and it is desolate as overthrown by strangers. And that's the part where it says Jerusalem, the land shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. In Ezekiel the 35th chapter, or 36th chapter rather, in the 5th verse, specifies Idumea, the so-called white man, will be on our land, showing you that the small heads are Edomites to the tribe of Amalek, and they are still here today because those small heads are still in our land. That bastard and Ashdod, it says in Zechariah. We'll read this again. Isaiah chapter 1 verse 7. Your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. 70 AD. Your land strangers devour in your presence, and it is desolate as overthrown by strangers. So this scripture perfectly fits with Luke 21 and 24. So we'll read that again, and we'll close out. This is Luke chapter 21 verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. So 70 AD. And Jerusalem, the land, shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, the heathen, till the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And so that shows you that we are the ones that fit that history. We're waiting for the Lord Yahushua to deliver us, pursuant to Jeremiah 16th chapter, and take these heathen down, pursuant to Isaiah 63rd chapter, especially Esau. And so the history of 70 AD, when the Roman Edomites armies came up against us, under the orders of Vespasian under the Flavian dynasty, and we fled into so-called Africa, because Africa, which is the wilderness, Africa is just a name of an Edomite, Scipio Africanus, that land, and we were taken to America, which was Babylon the Great, that placed in modern day Egypt, which America is also named of another Edomite, Amerigo Vespucci. And so these things, we fit the prophecies, and so I hope there was an edifying lesson. The Lord Yahushua is going to bring us back to our own land soon. The Lord Yahushua is coming out of salvation soon, so repent. So you don't get destroyed if you're the elect. The elect will be delivered. So with that, we give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Kokodash. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father in ancient Hebrew. Yahweh Shai is the true name of Omega and Son. Double honors to the oath and possibly a millstone will well. Peace and salutations to you, Lex. Shalom.